Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Clark Hellscream, and today we've got nerfs. That's right, Highlander decks, Demon Hunter, Druid, a lot of things just got nerfs, so let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Number one, this is probably like one thing that some people have been asking for a while, but Dragon Queen Alexstrasza no longer makes the dragons cost 0 mana. Now the dragons do cost 1 mana. So something that's going to be very, very apparent with these nerfs is that Blizzard is starting to get rid of 0 mana mechanics and a lot of the mana cheat that they have instilled into the game so far. A lot of these 0 mana dragons coming from Alexstrasza, like literally Nazari, Alex, Malagos, Kalagos, double Malagos, like go ahead and pick a combo you'd like. It can't really happen anymore. So like cheating out these dragons is not going to be as effective as possible. It's not necessarily going to make Dragon Queen and Highlander decks completely fall off though. Like this is still a completely powerful card, and really the only class is going to be able to take advantage of this, I would say, is Quest Warlock by making this 0 mana, because you know, getting 3 dragons for 2 mana is actually still pretty good. But in any case, every other class is going to be a little bit limited by this nerf. So now Dragon Queen Alexstrasza doesn't just straight up win as many games as it can. So I think this is a positive nerf. So I think we just got to see how this does over time. But I think this is going to be a very healthy thing in order to, you know, make sure that games are a little bit more skill intensive and more decision making can be made versus just, oh, you hit the 2 dragons that are the nuts and now I can't win. So I'm really happy with the nerf to Dragon Queen. Next up we have Corsair Cash. Corsair Cash no longer gives attack, but just gives +1 durability when you draw the weapon now. And I think this is a really, really smart move. Like it's not making the curve worse, because if you make this card 3 mana, then suddenly your weapons come out on 4, and with the deck, with Aggro Warrior and Enrage Warrior being as popular and as dominant on the meta as they are, I really feel like just giving it +1 durability is fair. Really, all you like, especially with Ankar, you just want the durability to get the pirates out of the deck, and the extra damage does make a difference because it is 3 additional damage that can go a long way. But Warrior has so many ways of bursting their opponents down, so I feel like this is going to really help Warrior to not, you know, fall off of the meta completely, but it's still going to keep it like at a high level of gameplay depending on how people play the deck. So I'm happy to see that Warrior's power level is being taken down just a little bit more to kind of help it seem more fair and not just, oh, you know, they have combo and they have weapons. But the next 2 nerfs are going after the Demon Hunter legendaries. Metamorphosis is kind of getting the Quest Rogue treatment where, you know, 5 damage is now being made to 4 damage, and that can go a long way. Suddenly, this isn't Pyroblast, and, you know, this just deals 8 damage over the course of 2 turns, which is a lot more manageable for some classes to deal with. I really thought that Metamorphosis was like an insane card to begin with, so I'm glad that they're actually, you know, bringing some attention to this and making the spell a little bit more fair. It doesn't really change how good the card is because it's still a whole lot of burst that Demon Hunter kind of needs in order to be viable. So I like that they're not just completely killing the card. Making this 6 mana probably would have been my first guess, but at the same time, the damage is also a problem. Not just about how soon it comes down, but how consistently it wins games, because it literally takes 1/3 of a hero's life away. So I'm really glad that they're changing Metamorphosis and making it to where, you know, a little bit more healing can make a difference in a lot of those matchups. Also, Kayn is getting the Shadow Jeweler Hernar and Evil Miscreant treatment by just going down to a 3/4 instead of a 3/5. And when you look at them side by side, it's a big difference. Like a 3/5 can easily trade into minions and still keep itself alive, but a 3/4 really can't do that as consistently, and like cards like Eviscerate could easily deal with this card a lot more. Chaos Nova can deal with this card now, so maybe Controlled Demon Hunter can get a little bit more of an edge. Like this is a really healthy way of attacking this card. It still doesn't change what's broken about it, so it's still the same flavor and it's still the same, you know, ability and whatnot. But this 3/4 will hopefully make a difference to where, you know, as soon as you play Kayn, your opponent's going to be able to kill it as soon as possible. So now that we've touched these nerfs, what are the other nerfs? Well, even more Demon Hunter nerfs. Next up, Warglaze Vazanoth, which I believe this should have cost 6 mana to begin with. Like, remember Assassin's Blade? Remember Assassin's Blade, guys? That rogue weapon that is a 5 mana 3/4 that only can attack once per turn? Yeah, let's make this card 6 mana. The biggest thing about this nerf is the fact that Wild Demon Hunter is actually going to be hit by this, so that way they don't have obscene amount of damage to deal with, like, what, spreading plagues, or, you know, insert a taunt minion. Like, having a 5/4 weapon almost every single turn is not only insane in terms of how much damage that can deal to the face if it, you know, if that does happen, but how often taunts just don't matter in those matchups. So I don't think this is going to completely slow down Odd Demon Hunter. If you want my opinion, I really think the hero power should just cost 2 only in that situation. It's a little bit weird for Hearthstone to, like, not have that kind of consistency, but I really feel like it's the only way that you're going to be able to deal with that. Otherwise, the other cards got to get scaled back. But in any case, this is a great way to start because Warglaze of Azzinoth had so much potential in Odd Demon Hunter, and in Standard, it's definitely going to slow down the deck with a lot less burst, because now suddenly you can't do like double Twin Slice as fast. Getting this out on turn 5 and playing Gladebound Adept, like this is a really big change, and I think this will slow down Demon Hunter a drastic amount. Next up is Dragoncaster, going from 6 mana to 7 mana. It still makes the spell cost 0 though. So I feel like this is a very, very important distinction. Not every single card is gonna, every single 0 mana discount is gonna just go to 1 now, and I think that's kind of important for one of 2 reasons. You want variance, right? But you also want to make it to where decks can deal with what's the term I'm looking for? They need comeback ability, and I feel like Mage as a class, since it doesn't have healing, really needs those kind of tempo swings. So I'm fine with like Puzzle Box coming out on like turn 6, turn 7, because now I've had like a lot of turns to, you know, actually go off on my game plan and try to kill my opponent. So I feel like Dragoncaster being 7 mana is actually gonna really limit how good Puzzle Box is nowadays, because it's not just gonna get slammed. Like it doesn't really change the spells that you play in the deck per se, but it's definitely gonna change when they come out. Suddenly you can't get a turn 5 Power of Creation. You can't get a turn 5 Blizzard against a lot of people. That really isn't what you wanted to use this, but it happened. So I feel like Dragoncaster being at 7 is somewhat of a good nerf, but it really just depends on how the rest of the meta, how it reacts to it. However, Fungal Fortunes, 2 mana to 3 mana. I absolutely love this. Absolutely love this. Because I wanted to see Glowfly get hit to some degree, but I feel like the draw with Druid is part of the reason why it's so broken, because like you're either drawing, you're ramping, or you're summoning a lot of minions at once. So at least we're slowing down Druid a little bit. I really, really, really would have liked to see Glowfly become 6 mana, but maybe the reason they're deciding not to do that is because they don't want the card to like completely like fall off. I think at 6 mana it might really limit how well it does, so cutting some of its draw engines power level, I think that can maybe do a lot in stopping Spell Druid's overall power level, but it really doesn't stop the key aspects of the deck. So hopefully this will slow it down a little bit, but I feel like Spell Druid's power level is still relatively around the same. Now maybe we just play 1 Fungal Fortunes and we just play like Twin Eagle. Twin Eagle could actually go a long way to replace this card, because some people really like the 3/2. So Fungal Fortunes, kind of up in the air of how much I like it, but at the same time, like, now that I've actually said everything out loud and I'm not just giving it my first thought, I think that it may make a difference, but it just depends how people tech their decks now. Last but certainly not least, Rogue Galakron. No longer gives you 0 mana cards, only gives you 1 mana cards. Kronk's costing 1 mana is a big deal, and suddenly like all of these amazing rogue swing turns are going to be completely limited. Like your turn 7 Galakron is no longer as effective as it used to be, because it used to be like you played this and then suddenly you drew Kronk's and it's like, oh my god, that's amazing. But now on turn 7 you don't have that luxury anymore. So Rogue is really going to have to make sure that it keeps itself into the late game. But I really don't think this is going to change how Rogue builds itself. If anything, this might mean that we could see some more expensive. I'm sorry, some cheaper cards in the deck to really make sure that it's more consistent. We might see more minion packages in order to make sure that it stays on the board and threatens. But I really don't think this changes how Rogue is gonna build its build the decks right now. But like, this being 1 mana is going to make a big difference. So the biggest question we have to ask ourselves, what hasn't been hit by these nerfs? all Highlander decks got hit, but Highlander Hunter is still pretty impressive. Priest is looking like it's a powerhouse right now. Like a bunch of its bad matchups just got kind of nerfed, so Priest may be the new dominant class of the meta. Maybe Demon Hunter will still prove that it has a ton of power level and is just going to be able to stay on top. Maybe Warrior will stay on top. What do you guys think? Be sure to let me know in the comments. But those are the nerfs for today. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below if you liked it. And I'll see you next time for the next thing, Hearthstone.